All right. Hello, everybody. This is Mr. C of Mr. C's Homeschool Music Academy. Welcome, everybody. This is for our high schoolers, 9th grade through 12th grade. Welcome back to our Friday music class, now starting at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I am happy to be back after a while, a week's hiatus over the, as you all know, I've been teaching at the public school, and we were finishing off the year last week. So gotten all of that out of the way, and now it is summertime and we can go full force. So I am glad to be back, and let's get rolling, everybody. If you know the Mr. C's Homeschool Music Academy jingle, please sing along. Let's do it. Let's hit it. Time for school, time for music, time to learn together. We can do it. Learning is fun with Mr. C. And learning is fun, everybody. Welcome back once again, high schoolers, 9th grade through. Okay, so just a couple of things. Okay, first of all, the purpose of today's class, we have the hymnal that we've chosen for this week. It's Wade in the Water. Okay, W-A-D-E, Wade in the Water. If you can go onto a Google search engine and type in that title, Wade in the Water, along with the word lyrics, you should be able to have those lyrics handy, and you could just sing along. Okay. That's again also for anybody who's been watching before, or if this is the first time your first time watching. I always do this so that we can get our minds in the right mindset to praise God, to thank Him for our ability to create music, to get together and to do and to learn, and all the things that we're able to do. Thank God for that, and praise Him for that. And that again hymnals are a very good way of calming the mind, calming the spirit, and getting ready to do whatever it is we're going to do. Of course, because it's praising God, and God gives it back, so to speak. So Wade in the Water, type in Wade in the Water lyrics, and have those lyrics handy in a little bit. We'll do some stretches before that. But then right after that, the core of our lesson will have to do with piano. We're going to go right back into piano. We did a couple of scales, and we'll revisit scales again. There's definitely a couple of more scales that I would like you guys to learn. For those people who have been watching before, we've been doing piano. But also, I want to get right into doing piano chords. Okay, I'm going to show you what that is about. That is very essential. I actually did a class earlier on about chords, and as far as the written aspect, which, by the way, high schoolers, I definitely want you to have, while we're doing this class, I also want you to have your manuscript paper ready with a pencil so that you can write this stuff down as well. And I'll also be at your keyboard. Make sure you have that handy, your piano keyboard, your piano, that there. During this lesson, please, follow that type of thing. Also, I've also asked people, if you didn't have access to a keyboard, a piano keyboard, if you don't have that, then also you can use a tablet where you can download a free app. They have free apps on downloadable apps that simulate an actual piano, where you can still tap on the screen, and that's not just a tap. You can even hold the notes down. It'll actually simulate the way a piano would sound. Okay, even down to doing chords, even with the fingering. But of course, if you have a tablet, you could do the same thing on a cell phone, but it's definitely smaller, so it's a little bit harder to really work on fingering and coordination when we're doing that. But that's just another last resort if you don't happen to have a piano or a piano keyboard. A piano keyboard or a piano is definitely always better. Might I suggest, if you're shopping around for a piano keyboard, it's good to start off with an electric keyboard at a 64 keys. If you get a 64 keys, it's the kind of piano that I used to tote around when I was in college. I would take it everywhere with me so that I can find a spot. And there were plenty of practice rooms, mind you, at school, at the college that I went to. And I remember definitely getting in there, but sometimes it was busy, with all those students. Sometimes I couldn't catch a break and be able to sit in a piano and sit at a piano in one of the practice rooms, and I wouldn't find it vacant to be used. So what I would do is I'd find a corner somewhere in the cafeteria, or sometimes there was just an empty room that they use for certain practice, especially for guitarists. If I could hook up my keyboard, my piano keyboard there, and I happen to have it with me, then I would take advantage and I would do that. But 64 keys. You can get an electric keyboard for 64 keys in it, and you can get some pretty decent priced ones. Sometimes I even bought a 64 key keyboard once at a local thrift shop. Okay, I went to a local thrift shop, and I was given money by one of my clients to find a keyboard for my student, and I was able to go into a thrift shop, found somebody that gave away a 64 keyboard at a thrift shop. They happened to have it, and it played beautifully. So you never know what treasures you're going to find in a place like a thrift shop, Craigslist, things like that, Amazon. Okay, you can definitely find a lot of different stuff. And like at this thrift shop, when I went to go get it, it was one of the well-known brands, and it was about $12. $12. Usually the cheaper price 64 keyboards are priced anywhere from $100 to $300. It depends. Okay, you might be sometimes $70, as cheap as $70, and they're decent keyboards. But I found this beauty, this 64 keyboard. It's on the old side, but it played beautifully, and again, it was only $12 at a thrift shop. So again, you never know what you're going to find. But shop around and look, and again, really definitely shop around. Don't take the first thing that you see. Okay, shop around and find the best keyboard for you. Okay, now let's get in. I forgot. There's also a little bit of more news. Okay, so starting next week, June 7th. Okay. Starting next week. In fact, this actually has to do with piano. If you're one of those students that are interested in taking single instrument lessons, okay, I'm going to start something called single instrument lessons starting at 10 a.m. to 10:30 every day, 10 a.m. to 10:30 Eastern Standard Time. And for a half an hour session, I'm going to concentrate on a particular instrument. Okay, so besides our 9 o'clock general music class, there will be a single instrument class. So starting Monday, it'll be piano at 10 a.m. Okay, Eastern Standard Time. On Tuesday, it will be guitar. On Wednesday, it'll be drums. On Thursday, it'll be voice, and then on Friday, it'll be ukulele. Okay, so that is the schedule, and all of them from 10 a.m. to 10:30 Eastern Standard Time. I'll be concentrating solely on those particular instruments each day, Monday through Friday. So right after our 9 a.m. to 9:30 Eastern Standard Time class, which is our new time now for general music, then at 10 a.m., I will be having this single instrument class, but only if you go into patreon.com/Mr. C's Homeschool Music Academy. It's right there. The link is right there in the details. Okay. Click on patreon.com/Mr. C's Homeschool Music Academy, and you have to sign up and become a member of the academy. You become a member of the academy and sign up for the single instrument lessons. It will cost you $20 a month, okay? $20 a month, where I will be giving these single instrument lessons to a wide audience, okay? Many people at the same time will be able to watch me teach the concepts that I need to with every instrument. However, it's not considered like a private lesson because I am not going to be able to see you. I'm not going to be able to observe you to critique everything that you're doing. However, during the live taping, you will be able to go on the comment section and ask questions while I'm teaching. Okay, and and of course I'm more than happy to answer those questions. So you will be able to see me, but I won't be able to see you. And of course you won't be able to see each other. Okay, but again, it's multiple students all at once. So again, it's not really a private lesson. A private lesson would be me doing one-on-one with you and being able to critique and help you along, kind of a hands-on type of thing, which, by the way, I also happen to do. Also, Mr. C's Homeschool Music Academy is offering that as well. So if you want to find out more about one-on-one lessons virtually, okay, then go on to patreon.com/Mr. C's Homeschool Music Academy, where you'll find all the information you need, cost and everything regarding the one-on-one virtual private lessons. But again, for $20 a month, you'll be able to join a wide audience at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for a half an hour session. We'll be concentrating on a particular instrument Monday through Friday, starting with Monday with piano. And here's the also great thing about it is there are no contracts, so you can cancel at any time. And basically, anybody that participates will be allowed to be part of the annual virtual recital, which I'm going to hold in December. The date is to be determined. Okay, but every December, okay, there will be a recital which you will be able to perform based on the lessons that we've been doing, and then you'll get a certificate. As well as a student, you'll be able to get a certificate of achievement for participating. Plus, you sign up for this $20 a month lesson package, okay, where we're doing these single instrument lessons. You'll also be able to access practice charts that'll help you master your instrument that you'll be able to practice with. Okay, so you'll have chords and you'll have guitar tabs, ukulele tabs, warm-ups for vocal, rudiments for drums. Okay, you'll be able to access that, and that, of course, depending on which instrument you're learning. Okay, that's the PDF. It'll be in the form of a PDF in the Patreon dashboard. Okay, and you'll be able to access that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, you will be able to participate in the Saturday live Q&As every week that I'm going to be holding for more opportunities to ask questions about whatever you're learning, and also still access to all of the general music classes, kindergarten through 12, as I do every morning now from 9 a.m. to 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. You'll be able to access those classes as well as worksheets. Okay, just in the general music area, you'll be able to do that, and all of that will include music theory and music history. All right, so there's a lot going on, guys. $20 a month, especially $20 a month, you can't really beat that. You know that you'll never get a price like that for single instrument lessons. And again, the only thing is I won't be able to give you any critiques because I won't be able to see what you're doing. But again, I do have those private lessons as well available, and you can find out more again in the details on that link, patreon.com/Mr. C's Homeschool Music Academy. Patreon members, for those of you who are Patreon members, there will be a worksheet in 24 hours regarding this lesson. Okay, and let's get to going, guys. Everybody, we are ready to go. That's all the announcements I have for so far, and I'm excited for these single instrument lessons. I got to tell you, I'm very, very excited to undertake this, and I can't wait to teach you guys all those things, to concentrate and master your instruments. So now, everybody, sit up nice and straight. Let's relax our shoulders because we're going to do some stretches before we sing our hymnal for today. Everybody, reach up into the sky as high as you can. Reach, reach, reach. And everybody, drop them. And now roll the shoulders back. Remember to breathe while you're stretching. Okay, roll the shoulders back, and everybody roll them forward. Roll them forward. Great. Now everybody rotate the necks in a circle, very slow. All right, awesome. And everybody rotate them the other way. Okay, everybody look all the way up. Look all the way down. Look all the way to your right. And all the way to your left. And tilt your head to the right. Tilt your head to the left. And shrug and hold. And drop. Shrug and hold again. And drop them. Okay. And everybody, put your arms in front of you like this and start opening and closing your fists. Your hands, I should say, fingers. Open and close, nice and easy. Get those appendages moving. Great. Now everybody squeeze and hold, squeeze and hold, squeeze, 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 squeeze. And shake it out. And everybody take a deep breath in through your nose. Deep breath out. One more deep breath in. And deep breath out. Okay, we are good to go. Okay, so hopefully you guys have those lyrics ready. I'm going to use my guitar for this one today. All right, wade in the water. Let me just adjust my camera. Okay. All right, so wade in the water. I chose this particular song. To wade in the water is to be in the Word of God, which is found in the Bible, right? To be in it. And know that it's a part of the lyrics as you might be looking at right now. Wade in the water, children. Okay, it's like God speaking to all of us, because in His eyes we're all children, right? Wade in the water. God's going to trouble the water. Okay, which means God is warning us that there are, things are going to happen. Okay, things are going to happen, and things are going to get a little bit unstable, because that's the earth we live in, right? That's the place we live in. But at the same time, he says, wade in the water, be in it, be firm in it, okay? Because God has everything handled. So this song is such a great reminder of that. So have those lyrics handy now, guys. Everybody make sure you're thinking, basically, in song, that he's got everything handled. Here we go. Wade in the water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Wade in the water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Jordan's river is deep and wide. God's gonna trouble the water. Meet my friends on the other side. God's gonna trouble the water. Wade in the water. Wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Jordan's river is chilly and cold. God's gonna trouble the water. Chills the body but not the soul. God's gonna trouble the water. Wade in the water. Wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Who's that yonder all dressed in red? God's gonna trouble the water. Must be the children that Moses led. God's gonna trouble the water. Wade in the water. Wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Who's that yonder all dressed in white? God's gonna trouble the water. Must be the children of the Israelites. God's gonna trouble the water. Wade in the water. Wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Who's that yonder all dressed in black? God's gonna trouble the water. Must be the hypocrites turning back. God's gonna trouble the water. Wade in the water. Wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Wade in the water. Wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. God's gonna trouble the water. God's gonna trouble the water. That was Wade in the Water. Give yourselves a nice round of applause if you were able to follow along. Great job, guys. If you weren't, of course, you know what I always say, go back to the video, have your lyrics handy, and practice, practice, practice. Of course, you're going to have to forgive me on the end of that. I got lost in my own head a little bit. I forgot that I was going to repeat that last chorus, okay? But I kind of got back into that. But that's what life's all about, guys. It's about making mistakes and learning from them. You know, thank God that He gives us the ability to make these mistakes. One would think that making mistakes is a burden. It's something that's wrong. It's just awful, right? But making mistakes actually is what has allowed me to learn and to be better at my craft and at a lot of things, everybody. So that's, you know, it extends. Music can definitely extend into many, many different aspects of life and academia and all of that. So and it all comes from our Creator. It comes from God. You know, that's something that I'm just so thankful for and can learn a lot from. We can learn a lot from our mistakes. If we are alive to be able to make our mistakes, to make those mistakes, then there's a chance that we can fix them and move on. You know, it's when you're gone from this earth, when you've made a mistake and you're gone from this earth. I think that's where it's kind of just all over, right? But as long as we're alive to make our mistakes, yeah, we can count ourselves blessed. Okay, it's definitely not a bad thing. We can learn from it, and you know, the Bible teaches that a lot. So that's what's really awesome. Anyway, I thought I'd say that a little bit, and let's get right into the core of our lesson, everybody. It is now time to do our piano lesson as it pertains to chords. So I'm going to just kind of stand up over here for a little bit, move some things around, like my music stand and such. Okay. Pick up after myself. Things drop. My goodness. Okay, so let's just adjust the camera a bit so you guys can see everything on the whiteboard. And then I'm going to do another readjustment soon because we're going to go right to the piano. So be ready for that. Okay. Now let's take a look. And I think I may have to adjust my lighting a little bit. Let me just see something. Okay. I'm just kind of looking at the monitor and making sure you guys can see everything. I'm going to have to adjust my lighting just a little bit. Okay, I think that ought to do it. And I'll bring this closer. Don't be shy. All right, here we go. Okay, so everybody take a good look at this. Take a good look at this. These are two chords that we're going to learn today. Just on our, if you guys remember, when we talk about the treble clef, okay, that treble clef symbol is a symbol of the right hand, okay, basically the higher notes, I should say. Okay, anything from middle C and above is all the higher range of notes. And for that reason, we're going to be using our right hand. So remember that simple fact that our treble clef tells us right hand use. Okay, if we were working with our bass clef, which kind of looks like that hook with the two dots, we'll be using our left hand for that. Okay, but here we go. We have our treble clef, our higher range of notes, and we're going to focus on the right hand for today. The next time I'll show you kind of these. I might even show you before we leave today the left hand, how that would look. Okay, but in any event, I'm going to make it more known with the bass clef as well. But for now, let's just focus on the right hand, these chords, these particular chords. We have our, actually I'm going to write this as well across the top. We have our C major triad chord, triad meaning three notes, 1, 2, 3, okay? And then we have our G dominant 7th, okay? G dominant 7th, everybody say that, G dominant 7th, okay? So this is how it would be abbreviated, just to kind of identify the chord, okay? C major, this is our C major, and this is our G dominant 7th. Now, usually, I'm going to write this down. Usually, our G dominant 7th chord will actually consist of G, B, D, and then F, okay? Why do I point this out? Particularly the D, okay? Particularly the D note. When we look at our G7 chord, our G dominant 7th chord, which is also known in Roman numerals as our 5/7, we have the G at the top, not as the root of the note, which means it's usually at the bottom, like the C major triad here. The root of the note, or the name of the chord, is usually the root, which is right there at the bottom. But this is actually known as kind of as an inversion, and I'm going to write that down as well on the bottom here. Okay, everybody, make sure you write this stuff down. This is an inversion. Okay, an inversion. Now, what does that mean? An inversion? Basically, they took the name of the root name of the note of the chord, and they put it on the top. They turned it all around, okay? But if you look carefully at this 5/7, this dominant G dominant 7 chord, okay, it has the makings of the G dominant 7 chord because it includes our G, which normally would be our root. It includes the B, which is usually the middle note. If we look over here, it's usually G, B, okay? And then it has the inclusion of the F, okay, just before the G in the way it's structured, okay? We have it as B, F, and G, okay? But normally that G7 chord would constitute this being on the bottom, and then B would be the next note, okay? And then here's the kicker about this. It actually only has, it doesn't include the D note, which is the 5th. It is the 5th of the chord, okay? So usually it would have G, B, D, and F, which is 4 notes. Over here, in this G dominant 7 chord, it only has the 3, okay? Can we count it as a triad though? Can we, okay? No, because again, it's the F. It's the F note, which is our 7th, okay? Our 7th, okay? Our G is the root again. Our B would be the 3rd. And our D would be the 5th, okay? But they decided in this inversion here, our version of the G7 chord, they decided to leave the D out, okay? But only include the root, the 3rd, and the 7th, okay? So let's put it this way. Why is it still a G7 chord without the 5th, without the D? Why is it there? Because the 5th sometimes, you could have it in there, or you don't need it. It's kind of like it's there, but it doesn't always need to be there. What does need to be there? What is necessary for it to be considered a G dominant 7th chord, okay, is sometimes within inversion and the way they play it, they definitely make sure you have the root, which is the G, which is the namesake of the chord, right? You definitely have to have the B, the 3rd, and it happens to be on the bottom, but it definitely has to be there. The B has to be there because kind of like in a ham sandwich, right? You got the bread here, but you got the ham. Without the ham, it's no longer a ham sandwich, is it? Right? It's not a ham sandwich. It's just 2 pieces of bread. Well, the same thing with this chord. The B is kind of like the meat within the chord sandwich there, right? Now I'm thinking, hopefully I'm not making you hungry thinking about ham sandwiches, okay? But that's kind of the point. That analogy is the point. You definitely need to have the B in there in order to have the meat of the chord, I should say, in one manner of speaking. You definitely have to have that. Without the B, it doesn't make sense even sound-wise, okay? So the root namesake, which is the G, the B, which is the meat of the chord, okay, an important part of the chord, and then the F. The F is the 7th on the 7th, okay? It is the 7th note, which is part of the G dominant 7th, G, B, F. Okay, without including the D, we would go G, B, and F. okay? Except this is inverted. This is the name of the, this is why I pointed you out to this inversion, okay? When something is inverted, okay, it means it's kind of upside down. It's turned around, okay, so to speak. So this inversion lends to the fact that we took the G, the root, and put it up on top, left the B on the bottom, and then now we kept the F, okay, right next to the G, okay? But that F, again, is the 7th of the chord, so that's why it's still considered a G dominant 7. Without that F, that 7 wouldn't be there. It would just be a G major. It would actually be a G major chord, okay, without the F, okay, and then at that point they would actually include the D, okay. But in order to play our G dominant 7, sound-wise, harmony-wise, the 5th is not totally necessary. It can be there or it can be taken out. It's like an extra appendage that doesn't really need to be there. Not that there's any such thing like that when it comes to our own bodies, okay? But it's you know, as far as the chord is concerned, the G dominant 7, it's got the more important parts, which is the root, the 3rd, and the 7th. Hence, G7, G dominant 7, okay? Let's kind of backtrack over here with our C major chord. Again, our triad, which is known as our Roman numeral 1, okay? As the G dominant 7, it's the 5th, it's a 5-7, okay? But our Roman numeral 1, C major, is composed up of the C, E, and G, okay? Now, here's why it's also been inverted this way. This is why G dominant 7 has been inverted this way. Because if you take a look at our C major chord, C, E, G, okay? Notice how all the notes are stacked one after the other, you know, and separated in thirds. From C to E is a third, from E to G is another third step, right? Okay. When it comes to actually playing from C major to G7, to G dominant 7, all one has to do, look at the movement. We have our C in the ledger line, our B in the 5-7 here, and the G7 is just a step down. So all we're going to do is we're going to be moving a finger down to next door to the B. From the E, however, from the E, okay, it kind of moves up to the F, while the G stays intact. It stays the same there. There's no movement required, okay? You're going to see how that looks on the piano. So in other words, again, we have a step down, we have one little step up, and then this is the same note being played. And that's the purpose of the inversion, is to make it convenient for the player to only move just a little bit, so that this way you can move very, very smoothly. Now, does that mean every chord between one or the other is going to be moved smoothly to? No, that's not going to happen. Sometimes it's a big jump, you know, on the key. Sometimes you have to do that, but most of the time, you know, a good composer, a good writer of music will do certain things like inversions and certain chords that just kind of go with each other to not only make a nice harmonic sound, but it's also for the sake of convenience, when you're playing throughout a song, okay? So that is really the purpose of the inversion, so that there's a little bit of a convenience there, a convenience factor. Instead of going from that C major chord, if we were to build a G7 chord from here with it stacked the way this is, then it would actually have to start from G, B, D, F, okay? It would have to start from there and be stacked over here. So from C major and then a big jump to G7, that is what would happen. Is it impossible for us to play it that way? No, absolutely not. It can be done, okay? But then this is, again, another more convenient way where there's only a step down from the root, up from the C, and a step up from the E to change it into a G7, and then this finger, whatever finger is playing the G over here, is going to be remaining the same, okay? I'll explain definitely more when we go hit the piano right now. So I'm going to right now go over to the piano, move the camera, and you guys are going to see a lot more of what I'm talking about. But again, this provides a nice convenient factor when we're playing, okay? So here we go. I'm trying to think if there was something else I was supposed to mention with this G7. I feel like I'm missing something. You know, you're going through it, and then I think, Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And by the way, I know I labeled it and I didn't explain too much about the Roman numerals. That's the other thing. Okay. But why this is a 1, okay? We're thinking in terms of, let's say we're in the key of C major. We're in the key where our scale, the song is in the key of C major. Well, this would be considered our one chord because it is the namesake, our first note. C is the first note of the scale of C major, right? So the C major chord, okay, would be considered our 1 because of the C, if that's the key we're in, all right? And then this G7, this G dominant 7 is known as the 5, Roman numeral 5/7. Why? Because in the C major scale, G is the 5th note, hence 5/7, the 5th note. How do we know that? Look here, let's start from C. C, space is D, E, F, G. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's why in the scale, in the scale, and we've done our C scale before in the piano. We've done our C scale before if you've watched this class before. So it's literally the 5th note. G is the 5th note from C, which is your first note in the key of C. That's why our G7 in Roman numerals is known as our 5/7, whereas the C is known as our 1 chord. Okay. All right, guys. Enough of that. Let's get to the piano. Let's hit the piano. Let's play our C major chord now. Bear with me on this adjustment. Okay, I'm actually going to lower this. Forgive the shaking. Okay, there we go. I think that is perfect. All right. Okay, so here we go. So we're going to concentrate. We're going to focus our attention to C, middle C. Okay, everybody play that. Our middle C, which is the 2 black keys. Just before it is our middle C. And I'm going to label this just for our convenience. So here's C. Okay, here's our E. I'm going to skip over the D and go right to E because these are the notes we're playing for our C major chord. So C, E, and then G. Okay, now I'm going to make another, I'm going to label a couple of other notes. Here's our B. Okay, and here's our F. Okay, reason I'm doing this is because this is part of the chords that we're going to be playing. So our part of our 5/7 chord, our G7 chord. Can we see all that? Yes. Okay. So here we go. So starting with our C, okay, we have C, E, and G. That is part of our C major chord, our 1 major chord, Roman numeral 1. Okay, and what we're going to do is, as we play that, we're going to use our thumb, our middle finger for E, and our pinky for G. And here it goes when you play them at the same time. Okay, bear in mind, also take a look, I'm using technique where my wrist is up and even and my fingers are curved, they're bent and firm. Okay, so it's C, E, G, and then we play it at the same time in unison. There we go. Okay, that's it again. Let's do it again one more time, guys. So thumb, middle, pinky for C, E, and G. This is our 1 chord. Everybody, let's play the C, middle C. Everybody play your E, and everybody play your G in the pinky, and everybody play it in unison. And that's our C major chord. Make sure again, when you're playing, fingers are bent, they're curved and firm. Your wrists are up and even, okay? Do not use too much wrist in order to play. It should be more finger strength than anything, okay? Maybe slight wrist when you're playing a chord in unison, okay? But definitely all of the fingers, especially if you're playing them separate, it should be all finger strength when it comes to that, okay? Now, I'm going to rewrite some of our notes so that we know where we are. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to move on to our 5/7 chord, where we had C on our thumb, E in the middle with the middle finger, and your G with your pinky. Okay, this is again your right hand, by the way. You're simply going to move your thumb over to B now. This is part of our 5-7 chord, right? Our G dominant 7. So you move your thumb over to B, okay? Thumb over to B. You keep your pinky on G, okay? Because that's part of our 5-7 chord, right? And you're going to now, instead of playing with your middle finger on E, you're going to use your ring finger for F. You're playing F and G at the same time while you're holding B down, okay? So now it's your thumb, ring finger, pinky, okay? B, F, G. And so when we play those in separately, everybody, remember wrists up and even, fingers curved, and thumb on B, everybody play it. And your ring finger on F, and your pinky on G. And everybody, when you play it at the same time, this is the way it sounds. Probably not the most desirable sound, okay? But it actually works in this in the scheme of, or in the whole scheme of the chord pattern. When we go from our, let's go back to our one chord, C, E, G, right? That's C, E, G, thumb, middle, pinky, and everybody play that on unison. Ready and go. Okay. Then from there, when we move our thumb over to B and use our ring finger for the F and remove our middle from the E, we have B, F, G, and okay, sounds like that. And then we can automatically go back to our one chord, C, E, G, and okay. So all together, basically, the chord pattern, a song, a basic song could be built on these two chords, and just on these two chords. So here's my one chord, my C major chord, then 5-7, G dominant 7, and then back to C major. You see how that works? Okay, a lot of songs are pretty much built on those two chords, with some other added chords as well, which we're definitely going to go into learning, okay? But you can basically pretty much start any song just doing your C major, your one chord to your 5-7 chord. And your one chord to your 5-7 chord is basically no matter what key you're in. You could be in the key of A, you could be in the key of B, E flat, whatever key you happen to be in. There is a 1 and a 5-7, a 1 chord and a 5-7 chord to go along with that. So let's review those notes again. Here we go. C, E, G. Okay, that's our one chord, our C major chord. Put your thumb on C, your middle finger on E, your pinky on G. Ooh, excuse me. And everybody play it at the same time and go. All right, now move over to your 5-7 chord, move over to your thumb to B, and lift your, don't use your middle finger, but ring finger for the F, and your pinky for the G, and everybody play your 5-7, G dominant 7 chord, and go. And then go back to your C major chord, thumb on C, middle on E, and pinky on G, and play that in unison together and go. Okay, now instead of kind of pointing out each note again, all right, instead of pointing out each note, I'm going to make sure we have our E, our F there. Okay, instead of doing each note separately, let's go into our one chord, our C major chord to our G dominant 7 chord, back and forth. Okay, so C, E, G. Here we go. Everybody play it in unison and go. And then dominant 7, G dominant 7, B, F, G. And everybody back to your one chord. Good. Let's do it one more time. Okay, C major chord. Everybody play it. Now play your G dominant 7, 5-7, and go. And back to your C major chord and off. Okay. All right. So there it is, everybody. There it is. That was our two chords that we played solely on the right hand. Okay. Let's come back over to me. I'm going to talk to you guys for a little bit. Okay. So that was our right hand. Everybody give yourselves a nice round of applause if you're able to follow along with that. Very good. If not, you can always, again, review this video again. Just review the video and go right into it. Just practice, practice, practice. That's what it'll be there set up for. Which reminds me, all of you people who have not subscribed yet, please subscribe right now. Just click subscribe. Okay, click the notifications bell so you can be notified of future lessons, and definitely like and share all these videos. I would appreciate that, and I appreciate everybody's, just some general shout outs. I appreciate everybody who are my Patreon members, as well as those who just watch on the channel. Thank you so much for your support of Mr. C's Homeschool Music Academy, of watching thus far. My friends in Sri Lanka, my friends in Australia and in the UK, as well as China and Japan and the Philippines and India, and also my friends in various places in South America, as well as North America and the United States. Thank you all, and any other places that I've not mentioned. Thank you so much for your support of Mr. C's Homeschool Music Academy. Remember the things I talked about earlier with our $20 a month single instrument lessons starting next Monday, June 7th, okay, which will begin 10 a.m. to 10:30. But in order to take advantage of that opportunity, you must go on to patreon.com/Mr. C's Homeschool Music Academy and sign up for that $20 a month single instrument lessons, where I'll be focusing more on those particular instruments: piano, drums, guitar, ukulele, and voice. Okay, so those will be Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to 10:30 a.m. And we'll still continue our general music classes before that from 9 a.m. to 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. So look on patreon.com/Mr. C's Homeschool Music Academy for all the scheduling and everything. And that's it. That's all I can say. Everybody, great job. We'll focus on the left hand with those two particular chords, maybe some added chords as well. And I will see everyone next week. Everyone, take care of yourselves. I wish you happy practicing, and I will see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.